Connie Summer, who only wanted a little excitement in her boring life, made the biggest mistake of her life in a moment of weakness after meeting a stranger. She never knew that this path would take her to a point from where returning would become impossible. At the beginning of the movie, a beautiful house is shown. Here we meet Connie, who lives with her husband Edward. They have an 8-year-old son named Charlie. The three of them seem to be a very happy family. But after Edward and Charlie leave, Connie starts feeling bored with her life. After some time, Connie goes shopping in the city. She needs to buy things for Charlie's upcoming birthday. After shopping, when she comes out of the store, the weather becomes very bad. Strong winds are blowing, and Connie has bags in both her hands, making it difficult for her to walk. She slowly moves forward. On the same street, a young man is walking while carrying many books. Connie accidentally bumps into him and both of them fall down. Connie injures her leg. She gets up and tries to stop a taxi, but no taxi stops. After walking some distance, she sits down. The same young man comes there. Connie asks him to help stop a taxi. He tries, but the taxi driver does not stop. Seeing her injury, he tells her that she should treat the wound first. He explains that he lives in the same apartment building and that she can come with him. Connie agrees. When she enters the apartment, she notices books everywhere. She asks the young man if he is a writer, but he says he is a book dealer. Connie goes to the bathroom and cleans her wound. After returning, she says she needs to call her home and explain why she is late. While she is talking on the phone, the young man looks at her legs visible from her skirt. After some time, he comes closer and puts ice on her injury. Connie feels uncomfortable. To clear his misunderstanding, Connie tells him that she was talking to her son, who will turn 8 years old in a few days. The young man does not mind and introduces himself as Paul. He says that he will also turn 28 years old in a few days. Before Connie leaves, Paul gives her a book to take with her. While Connie is looking at the book, Paul tries to get closer to her, but Connie leaves. At night, Connie tells Edward everything. Edward says they should send Paul a bottle of wine as a thank you gift for helping her. Edward and Connie spend a romantic moment together. Edward records Connie with a camera. But when they are getting closer, Charlie suddenly calls them. Edward starts laughing and says he will go check on him. Because of their child, Connie's personal needs are not being fulfilled properly. The next day at work, Connie calls Paul to thank him. But Paul, who is looking for a reason to meet her again, invites her to his apartment. Connie agrees. When she reaches his place, Paul touches her while helping remove her coat. He starts flirting with her. A close moment happens between them when he takes her hand and moves it over a braille book. Connie becomes uncomfortable again and leaves. Feeling guilty, Connie buys a gift for Edward and goes to his office. Edward asks what she did the whole day and who she met. She lies and says she met his friend Bob. At that moment, Edward receives a call and becomes upset because of a problem. Connie leaves feeling disappointed. At night after dinner, Edward notices that Connie seems lost in her thoughts. He finds it strange but does not say anything. Connie is actually thinking about Paul. The next day, she goes to meet Paul again. They spend time together and dance. But when Paul tries to kiss her, Connie pulls away. She tells him that she is married and cannot do this, then leaves. But now her feelings and desires have started taking over her thoughts. She comes back. Paul pulls her closer and they become physically involved. While returning home by train, Connie feels overwhelmed. She keeps thinking about what happened. She remembers the way Paul touched her and how strongly she reacted. She feels shocked because she cannot understand why she did something like this with a stranger. But at the same time, she feels excited because it was not just attraction. It was an emotional experience that she had been hiding deep inside for a long time. That same day, Edward meets Bob and asks about his meeting with Connie, but Bob says he has been out of the city for several days. Hearing this, Edward becomes suspicious. At night, Edward asks Connie if she still loves him. Connie says this is a strange question and asks why he suddenly asked that. Edward says it was just a thought. Meanwhile, Connie and Paul become closer. They start finding excuses to spend more time together. The attention and affection Connie receives from Paul bring excitement back into her life. Paul gives her the care and attention she has not received for a long time. One day they are having lunch at a diner. Paul keeps teasing Connie and later kisses her. But Edward's co-worker Bill notices them. He does not say anything, but now there is a risk. Connie's emotions become harder to control. At night, while she is in the bathroom, she keeps thinking about Paul. She notices a drawing made by Paul and removes it. At that moment, Edward comes in. He tries to get close to Connie, but she is still thinking about Paul. She makes an excuse that the water is cold and leaves. Edward starts realizing that something is wrong. The next morning, Edward sees Connie getting ready to go somewhere. He asks if she is free and suggests going to a lodge together. But Connie makes another excuse and says she has a facial appointment at a salon. Edward notices her new clothes, which seem unusual for her. He becomes suspicious, but he kisses her and leaves without saying anything. At the office, Edward calls the salon to confirm her appointment. When he finds out that there is no appointment under Connie's name, he realizes that something is happening. Connie is on her way to meet Paul again when she suddenly runs into her friends Stacy and Sally. They are out together and they take Connie to a cafe. Inside the cafe, Connie calls Paul and tells him that she got stuck with her friends and will not be able to come. But Paul is not someone who gives up easily. He directly comes to the cafe. Paul goes to the restroom and Connie follows him there. He starts kissing her and Connie also gets carried away by the emotions of that moment. Paul takes her inside the restroom, and the excitement of the situation makes Connie lose control. They end up getting physically involved inside the cafe. Later, while they are sitting together, her friend Stacy tells her that a few years ago she also had an affair, and because of that, her marriage ended. This confession affects Connie deeply because it feels like a warning hidden inside someone else's mistake. After leaving the cafe, Paul and Connie go back to his apartment. Connie tells him that they should stop everything before someone gets hurt, but Paul starts talking romantically and convinces her to stay. Soon, they become close again and spend the night together. Meanwhile, Edward's life at the office is also becoming complicated. He fires his employee Bill after finding out that Bill was secretly giving interviews at other companies, which Edward considers a betrayal. However, Bill is the same person who saw Connie with Paul at the diner, and before leaving he gives Edward a warning. He tells him that instead of worrying about office loyalty, he should pay more attention to what is happening in his own house. This comment deeply affects Edward, and he decides to discover the truth himself. He hires a private investigator named Frank to follow Connie. The next day, Connie buys a new dress and gets ready specially to meet Paul. She has become so desperate to spend time with him that she completely changes her appearance and tries to look attractive. Paul and Connie go to a theater, but even there they cannot control themselves and become intimate again. While they are leaving, Frank secretly takes their pictures. After that, they return to Paul's apartment, where Connie falls asleep because she is exhausted. When she wakes up, she realizes it is already very late. She was supposed to pick up her son Charlie from school, but she had become so lost in her relationship with Paul that she completely forgot about him. She quickly goes to pick up her son, but after returning home, guilt overwhelms her and she starts crying because she realizes how much she has neglected her family. Meanwhile, Frank shows Edward the pictures of Connie and Paul. After seeing them, all his doubts disappear. Edward is completely broken because the woman he trusted and the life he thought was secure suddenly feel like they are falling apart. At the same time, Connie also decides that she wants to end everything with Paul. She goes to meet him and is ready to tell him that their relationship must stop, but on the way she sees something that hurts her even more. Paul is with another woman. Connie follows them and sees Paul acting romantically with that woman. She confronts him, becomes angry, and starts arguing with him. Paul takes her away from there, and inside the elevator Connie asks him how many other women he is seeing. Paul tries to explain that the woman is only a friend, but Connie does not believe him. Her anger is clear, and she tells him that everything is over before pushing him away and leaving. However, Paul refuses to let her go. He follows her and grabs her. Connie tries to push him away and repeatedly asks him to stop, but the situation becomes dark and complicated. Paul crosses a line and Connie becomes trapped between her feelings, confusion, and attraction toward him. Eventually, she gives in once again and they become physically involved. Later, Edward goes to Paul's apartment to confront him. He asks why Paul is destroying the life of a married woman and reminds him that Connie has a family and a son. Paul calmly says that he already knows everything and that Connie likes him. While looking around the apartment, Edward notices Paul's bed and then sees a snow globe lying there. It is the same snow globe he once gave Connie. For Edward, that object was a symbol of their love, their family, and the life they built together. Seeing it in Paul's apartment completely breaks him because it feels like Paul has taken away everything important from him. Filled with anger, Edward grabs the snow globe and attacks Paul with it. The injury becomes fatal and Paul falls to the ground and dies. After realizing what he has done, Edward starts removing every piece of evidence. He cleans his fingerprints, wipes the blood from the floor, wraps Paul's body in a rug, and prepares to hide everything. While doing this, he hears Connie's voice on Paul's answering machine. She had called Paul to officially end their affair. Edward deletes the message, puts Paul's body inside his car trunk, and later that night takes it to a landfill where he leaves it. A few days later, two detectives arrive at Connie and Edward's house. They tell them that Paul has been missing for several days and that they found Connie's number in his apartment. They also reveal that Paul's wife has filed a missing person complaint. Connie is shocked because she never knew Paul was married. She tries to hide her panic and tells the detectives that she barely knew him and only bought books from him, which is probably why he had her number. Some days later, while the landfill is being cleaned, Paul's body is discovered. The detectives return and ask Connie if she ever visited Paul's apartment, but she denies it again. Edward supports her and tells them that if they do not have any proof, they should stop disturbing his wife. Connie remains frightened because she knows the truth. One day, while collecting clothes from the dry cleaner, Connie finds pictures of herself and Paul hidden inside Edward's jacket pocket. At that moment, she realizes Edward knew everything from the beginning. That night, during a party, her friend asks about the snow globe. The same snow globe Edward used to kill Paul is now placed back on the shelf. Connie looks at it in shock and then looks at Edward. Edward no longer tries to hide anything, and both of them silently understand the truth. After everyone leaves, Connie confronts Edward. He finally admits that he knew from the very first day that she was cheating on him. He tells her how hard he worked to give her and Charlie a beautiful life, a comfortable home, stability, and security, but she destroyed everything they had built. His words reveal the pain he has been carrying. Edward then admits that when he discovered the affair, he was so hurt and angry that he wanted to kill not Paul, but Connie herself. Hearing this leaves Connie completely shocked. The next few days pass in silence, but then Connie discovers that the snow globe has a hidden compartment. Inside, she finds an old picture of herself, Edward, and baby Charlie, along with a handwritten note that says, "For my beautiful wife, the best part of every day of my life." The message touches Connie deeply because it reminds her of the Edward she knew before everything went wrong. She decides to destroy all the evidence and burns the pictures connected to Paul. When Edward arrives, he tells Connie that he will surrender himself to the police because he is ready to face the consequences of what he did. But Connie stops him because she does not want their family to end this way. They decide to try saving their marriage and rebuilding their life together. From the outside, everything appears normal again. While dancing together, they both cry and kiss, knowing the pain and secrets they are carrying inside. Later, one evening, they are driving home together. Edward stops the car at a red light, and Connie says they should leave everything behind, go somewhere far away where nobody knows them, and start a completely new life without lies. Edward listens and does not reject the idea. He simply says that it sounds perfect. When Connie starts crying, he holds her hand, kisses her, and hugs her. The traffic light turns green, but the car does not move. Then it becomes clear that they are stopped directly in front of a police station. And with that, the story of the film comes to an end.